Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. And please note that this session is being recorded. I'm Coach Anjana Lumba, Education and Programming Chair of the Oman chapter of ICF. I had to remind myself of that because they've just changed how you announce it. So we are here today for the session on nurturing presence through self-connection. Before I introduce the speaker, a quick note on housekeeping. Please keep your mics muted during the session and post your questions on the chat. Speaker will answer those at the end of the session. And by attending this session, you earn 1 Resource Development CCEU. We'd like to also request you to fill in a very short feedback form at the end of the session. It is time for me now to introduce our speaker, PCC coach Kavita Govindjee. Kavita is a leadership coach and facilitator and is committed to empowering individuals and promoting growth. By applying an integral coaching approach, she facilitates a process for clients to explore their inner world, as well as how they influence and interact with systems and cultures. She supports clients to uncover their authentic leadership style, build resilience, and cultivate deeper self-awareness to lead with confidence and purpose. Over to you, Kavita. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much, Anjana, for that introduction. And good evening, everybody. And thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to spend the next 55 minutes or so with you and to explore a simple yet powerful topic today. And that is how our presence as coaches is shaped by how we are connected to ourselves. So I've been coaching leaders for about 8 years now. And I realized that while all of ICF's core competencies are important, core competency number 5, maintains presence, is one that really stands out for me because it can lead to either an effective or an ineffective coaching session. I was just thinking about when I first started coaching. I was facilitating a coaching session with a professional, and it was one of the very first few sessions. I was busy doing my coaching qualification, and this was many years ago. And now when I think about it, I just cringe. But the reality is, I used to prepare a list of questions and write them in my notebook without even knowing what the client was going to bring into the session. And I used to think, oh, good, that coaching conversation went off so well because here I was as a beginner asking questions that inspired thought and really gave the client something to walk away with. But soon after that, I felt like, no, something was just not right. There was just something that was off there for me. And as I progressed with my course and I learned about the core competencies, I realized that I was actually not being fully present. I was performing more than being present. I was ensuring that I had the perfect questions that could elicit those aha moments for the client. And that really raised a simple but important question. And that's, how often does this actually happen in coaching sessions where we are not being present? And most of the time, we're not even aware of that. And now, when I think also, I could just as well have been a coach bot, an AI bot asking these questions. And that is actually what differentiates us from AI. We as human coaches are meant to bring in that human element of presence. And this is what we will explore further today, especially how we can connect with ourselves before, during, and after a coaching session. So we are quite a small group here. I was hoping we'd have more people, but I think it's also wonderful and we can make the most of our time together by just being fully present. And I encourage you to please share comments, questions, anything that you have in the chat box, or you can even raise your hand. I think we're a small enough group to be able to just share what we'd like to within the group. So just to begin with, I'd like to just invite you into a brief moment of noticing. And if you don't mind, Nazima and Fazine, if you can just switch on your cameras just for a very short time. Would like to just do a small presencing and noticing exercise here. Okay. Okay, Fazine, I'm assuming you are unable to switch on the camera right now.
Can you
He's
not see
already on
me? My
camera.
camera's on.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
are
see.
on two modes, I think. Farzeen, you're logged in with your phone also, I think.
No.
I see Farzeen quite
Twice.
well,
Yes,
and I was
Twice.
smiling when you said switch on your
Likewise.
camera.
that's so
Likewise, I
strange.
can see Farzine as well. Very
One is
Okay.
clearly.
without, one is with camera, one without
Oh,
camera.
there's two of you, right? Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
can
why.
see this.
Really?
All right,
Yeah.
That's so
yeah.
odd.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, for this exercise, I'm going to invite you to just sit for 20 seconds. Say nothing, do nothing, just be here. So I'm going to count 20 in my mind, and let's just pause for 20 seconds. Okay. We can come back. And I'd like you to just think about, and if you want to, you can make a note of it or even share with us, what did you notice in yourself in these 20 seconds? Okay, Nazima says ease. Carol-Ann, breathing. Lovely. Frazine, silence. Peace of mind. Bhavna is centered. Okay, and calm, Anjana. Wonderful. So look at what 20 seconds can do for you. And I'm also wondering, what did you assume about the others? Just seeing everybody on the screen, did you notice anything else about anyone else that is on the screen here? Okay, Fazine, your eyes were closed. Yes, I did notice that. And I think Nazima's was as well. Okay. Okay. Perfectly fine. So what we've experienced may have felt very simple, but even a few seconds of being fully present can feel unfamiliar because our attention is naturally moving. We are constantly thinking, judging, interpreting. And this is exactly what happens in coaching. We're listening to the client, and at the same time, something is happening within us. And whether we notice it or not, that shapes our presence. Okay. So now I'd like to just invite you to reflect on your own presence as a coach. So answer this for yourself. If my presence as a coach were a metaphor, what would it be? And you can write this down, but I would also love for you to share it in the chat box. So I'll just give you a moment to reflect on this. Okay. What metaphor would you associate with your coaching presence? Oh, Dr. Mohiba, Sage, Carol-Ann, Lighthouse, Frazine, Space, Bhavna, Ocean. Those are beautiful. Thank you. Would anyone like to share why they've chosen that particular metaphor?
I think that basically it's because I would sit and listen, focus on what I'm hearing from the coachee, fully focused, fully concentrated on what is coming from them. And so I
Okay.
see myself as a man, by the way, funny enough, as one of these older men with long white beards sitting there and just listening.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Mohiba.
Thank you.
Bhavna?
So I think I take from Dr. Mohiba sitting there and listening. And why I chose ocean is that it's all encompassing, which is that I take the client in their context without me really. No, so it's grasping everything about the client, whether it's verbal, non-verbal, whatever their context is. So I think that's the mode when I'm there with the client totally.
Mm. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Bhavna. You can see you are on your way to MCC. And I see you and Nazima, you both of you had water as a metaphor. So Nazima's is still water, Bhavna's is ocean. Nazima, do you mind sharing with us about your still water?
Yes, I guess when I think about presence, I think it's just about being there with someone. And I guess the stillness for me is around me being still enough to be able to feel into what's happening with the other.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Nazima. And I'm actually very excited also to not hear the metaphor like a busy highway or a browser with many tabs or a flickering candle. So those are wonderful metaphors that you have brought up. Thank you. Okay, so presence is not fixed. It shifts with our internal state, depending on where we are, what is going on through our minds, right? And we often think of presence that's something that's required just during a coaching session. However, it's important to move on into a space of presence even before a session, as well as after a session. So I'm curious, just from your side, how do you move into a state of presence before you get into a coaching session? Okay, Fazine says, centering myself, breathing. Yes. Anybody else does something different other than centering? Phones away. Yes. Remove all those distractions. I see Dr. Mahiba is typing here. You're welcome to also switch on the mic if you prefer. Visit the loo
Basically,
and
have
drink a
no
lot
one
of water.
around. Have no one around. It's absolutely the case. Even if I have headphones and no one can hear me, no way. I want to be totally focused. Nobody, and certainly no phones. No,
Mhm.
none of that. None of
Yes.
that. Total
Okay.
focus.
Right. Okay, wonderful. So that's also removing any distractions. Bhavna reminds herself of her purpose as a coach. Wonderful. Right. So I think the common one is practicing the breathing, removing the distractions, maybe even sitting up straight, making sure your posture is correct so that you are fully present and available for your client. Yeah. So I want to just share a tool with you that you could possibly use as well. And this is called the 3-2-1 self-connection reset. So it's a very, very simple tool that you can use just before you begin your coaching sessions. And all it encompasses is taking 3 breaths, looking for 2 body sensations, and really noticing one emotion or naming one emotion. And this is something I'd like us to just try. It will probably take us a minute only really to do this. So just take 3 breaths, long, deep breaths. Okay. And then notice two sensations within your body. And this could be maybe being alert, tired, tightness, butterflies, whatever it is that you could be feeling also before a coaching session. And then name one emotion that you are feeling. Okay. So this quick, simple exercise helps us to experience the shift of coming back to ourselves, especially before we switch on join on our computers. Or if you are meeting somebody face to face, then it's also something you can do before they arrive. And once you've checked in with yourself, then you can set yourself a clear intention. And that is really a beautiful way to enter the coaching session. Right. Did anyone notice anything about themselves while you did this exercise?
Can I talk?
Yes, yes, Bhavna.
So while again I was doing it, and when you take the 3 breaths, what I felt was that the circulation was there on my head, right? It was as if the concentration or my senses, my hearing, everything was coming towards the head rather than the body. And I was thinking that maybe this is also leading me to keeping my senses active by calming myself, right? Rather than being looking after the other parts of the body.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So that's how you are able to calm yourself. Thank you so much, Bhavna. And Farzeen?
I think for me, just asking me to just be still and taking the breath, it actually took me out of my head into my body because specifically I had to kind of sense, okay, what am I feeling right now? Like in the sense, like how does my body feel? And that's not something which I normally think of. I think we're all quite cerebral sometimes. We spend a lot of time in our heads. So I think, the fact that you said go and look for two body sensations, it actually made me pause and like really look into my body and say, okay, what am I feeling? Like, is there any tightness somewhere? Am I feeling relaxed? So that was something which I noticed. Thank you for that.
All right. No, great. Thanks, Fazine, for sharing that. And I'm glad that that was useful for you to notice what was happening in your body. Because as you say, often we don't think of that. It's more, what are those thoughts that are going through our minds? What do we need to do before we enter this coaching session and getting rid of those distractions? But so we make sure the external side is taken care of, but how do we actually take care of the internal side apart from just the breathing that most of us probably do in any case? Okay, so that is something that you can use before you enter your coaching session. And I would like to now just move into what happens during a coaching session. And, because we may have all these wonderful ideas, we calm ourselves down before we enter a coaching session. But in reality, what happens is that in the coaching session, the client starts talking. Sometimes we get sucked into their stories. Our emotions are all over the place because now we are identifying with them or something is triggering us. And we then need to reconnect with ourselves and just reset. So I'd like now to just get some of your input, and I would like to move you into breakout rooms. I see we're going to have 4 people per breakout room. We'll give it 15 minutes or so and just have a discussion around these 4 questions that are on the screen. And if you can please just take a photo of this so that you have the questions during your discussion, that'll be great. And let me just see if I can get these breakout rooms ready.
Kavita, do you want me to
Yeah, I think so, Anjana, because I'm not even seeing the option here. So it will just be 4 people.
Sure.
Yeah, it will be 4 and 3. Okay, I hope everyone's taken the photo. And then we'll just come and give feedback within the big room.
Oops. Okay.
From time to time, it becomes blurred. So I never had a chance to take a picture.
Okay. Let me try again.
That's better.
Can you see? Okay. All right.
Okay, so I'll just open the rooms now.
Okay. Thanks, Anjana. Okay, so we'll give it 15 minutes and I'll see you back here in 15 minutes time, 17:40 my time. Enjoy the discussion. Anjana, are you going into a breakout room as well?
Name didn't show up. My name.
Oh,
Interesting. Farzeen has already.
that's probably her second account, so she's in
yeah,
with the other one.
yeah. Oh, Carolyn, and there are only 2 of them there. So maybe I should
Okay.
join. I don't know why
You
it did
want to
not,
do
it
that?
just ignored me completely.
Oh dear. Do you want to pause the recording while this breakout's in?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a fruitful discussion and that you had enough time to have that discussion, which I'm sure you would have. So, yeah, so we had 2 groups, and I'd love to just hear from both groups what came up for you. So I think let's start with the bigger group because I'm sure you have much more to share. Who would like to volunteer?
So ours was room 2, right? And there would be room 1 as well.
Yes.
Anyway, Farzin is our facilitator.
Oh, I didn't realize, Dr. Mohiba.
I'm quoting Farzin, and obviously liking the idea. Yeah.
Right. So, we had a very fruitful discussion about the questions. And what really came out from all of our conversations and observations was that values. So, we felt that all of the experiences that we shared in the room, the common element, which Dr. Mohiba had very clearly pointed out, was that when we felt that our values there was a clash of values, or when our values felt violated in some way, that's when we felt disconnected from our clients, or we had to actively try to manage ourselves, and we observed changes in our behavior or internally. And so we really had to switch on our senses to manage and control and regulate ourselves, particularly in cases where we felt something was being said which offended our senses, our sense of fairness, or our ethics. Those were the moments where we felt most disconnected, based on whatever incidents or insights we had shared in that short period of time that we had. Am I missing anything else, ladies? Please, if I have, please add it. Thank you.
And impact on yourself and the client. Maybe somebody else wants to share that.
Sorry, I didn't get you, Kavita.
The impact of that on yourself and your client.
Yeah, perhaps Nazima could share her very interesting or Bob.
Yes, I had someone that was politically quite had a particularly different position to me, and it felt quite a lot of things for me somatically. So just an increase in my heart rate and just kind of feeling quite heated. And we actually decided that I was not going to continue coaching him because it was in such conflict around racism and kind of misogyny and all kinds of things. So it was just conflicting too much with for me to be able to honestly say that I can really hold a space for this person. Yeah. So
Okay.
the response was a somatic one for me.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing, Fazine and Nazima. I mean, values definitely comes up. Having that clash of values certainly does kind of knock you off or derail you from that coaching session. And love to hear from the second group. What came up for you?
So in the second group, it was myself and Madhya and Farzine's ghost. So, so Farzine's ghost
God,
was the fly on the wall, listening to both of us.
I, I don't know where this ghost has come in from. I really need to go back and check my Zoom settings now.
Don't worry about it. Uh, we were not as philosophical as the other group, I must say. They're making us feel incompetent, really. We just went to, both of us, and Medea, please jump in whenever you feel comfortable. Okay, we were like, it was usually the takeoff of a session, and this was in our early days of coaching. Medea's got close to 3,000 hours of coaching behind her, so have I. And we just went back to our very early experiences where we felt most disconnected simply because we felt accountable or we felt responsible for leading the client somewhere. And when they launch into this volley of stories, the disconnect comes with, how do I take off from here? Where do we lift off? But and Medea also said something important. She said it's about the practice, and it's about this way of being disconnected is more about letting go of this need to do something for the client, the need to, and we took that a little, we said yes the moment we realized that it's not on us, it's on the client to decide where they want to go. And the best would be, okay, with all of this, where are you choosing to go? We felt more connected with what we are doing and how we are showing up in that session. So with the answers to the questions as to what was happening internally at that moment, anything from abusive language in the head all the way down to frustration, or just whatever it is, I know early days, we coaches seem to be wearing halos on our head, but honestly I don't know. Sometimes we get stuff happening. And another thing that Madi has talked about was chemistry, you know. So it's a good thing we haven't yet brought the word biology into coaching, because God knows where that would take us. But I fully understand that, yes, chemistry with the client is very important. And sometimes when you don't just feel that energy, you don't just feel that chemistry, the disconnect can occur. So we enjoyed our conversation, really, and thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much, Carolyn, for your
Always.
feedback. Yes, I just want to share my slides again. I just want to also add, these are some other things that also comes up that causes disconnection. And I think often we are planning the next question. What are we going to ask next? And then that outcome pressure. Are we going to get the client what they really want at the end of the session? Then we go into performance mode. And I shared how I used to do that at the beginning when I started coaching. I needed to get it right. It needed to be a perfect session. And I put all this pressure on myself to be a good coach. There's the over reliance on tools and models. And I think at the end of the day, there's nothing like pure presence that is the best tool that one can use when you are sitting with your client. Then the emotional reactivity, how we get caught up in those stories. We can identify, and I'm not sure if you've experienced it, but often I used to have clients coming to me and they'd bring up the same stories of things that I was going through. It was like just pure coincidence that they'd be sharing very similar stories, and I get suckered into that. And that causes that disconnection. And most importantly, the disconnection from self. because that is most important. When we are connected to ourselves, we are able to listen to the client and really help them to find those answers within. So, Carolyn, you were saying that the chemistry is there, but luckily we haven't brought the biology into it. But here we go. We have brought in the biology. We've got the head, heart, and the gut. And it's also important to see how can we bring these three things into it. How can we use this to stay present for our coaching clients? So looking in our head, that's got 100 things going on all at once. We can listen to what is actually being said right now. So moving from thinking about the next question, thinking about how does this relate to you, whatever it is, and really moving into listening, just sitting quietly and listening to the client. Then, of course, the heart. Sitting in that place of empathy, really understanding what is the client going through right now? What could it be like for them? How are you connecting with the client? Because presence is a relational thing. It's not just being there, it's relating with your client. And their presence also affects how present you are. So it's moving away from analyzing everything that's happening to relating with them at a human level, right? Once again, we don't know what AI is doing, but we can do what we can as humans. And the gut. So what wants to happen here? Not what should I do? And I think, as we become more experienced as coaches, we start becoming more reliant on our intuition. So, like, I threw all those questions away at that starting point, and I started moving more towards what is really going on inside. And automatically, those questions just come, and the right questions come at the right time. So, it's using that gut and being able to sense what is really going on here. And that's what also then keeps us connected. And now, okay, let me just go back here. As we move on to the final phase, we've looked at what do we do before a coaching session? What do we do during a coaching session? And now after a coaching session, right? Because the coaching session may take an hour, but that's not where it ends. We still have to take that time straight after the session to just reflect a little bit. So I'd love to just hear from you first. What do you do straight after your coaching sessions?
May I say what I do not do and I always wish to do? And it is to record all the wonderful, wonderful things, wonderful thoughts and emotions that would have been there. I get insights during the session. I could write an article while coaching, but then it can't be because I'm coaching. But what the insights, what comes out of this interaction between coach and me is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it, I as I used to say, I come from academia. I used to say to my students, lucky you can take notes while we are interacting. I can't. And it's the same. I look at my coachee and the coachee is having insights and I am having insights. And it's such a tango. It's such a wonderful, wonderful moment that I do not record. Once it's over, I say, oh my God, I wish I could record it all. I remember it, but I never take notes. I never remember it. And I always say, good ideas are very faithful. They come back to you. Don't worry, they will always come back to you. So this is my feeling I wanted to share with you.
Okay, thank you. I love that. Good ideas are very faithful. They'll come back to us. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Mohiba. I see there's something in the chat box here. Frazine says, make my notes, write down any insights, observations. And Nazima senses into what I'm feeling and what is happening in my gut about the client. Beautiful. Thank you for those. So just to share some other things, and maybe you are already doing this. It's taking that pause straight after the session, just 2 or 3 slow breaths and resetting yourself somatically. So our body is involved throughout the session and even afterwards. So re-regulating our nervous system, because we don't want to be carrying that client's emotional energy with us for the rest of the day. So how do we actually release that energy as we are closing off that session, which is more than an hour usually? So the mental release. Then the question you can ask, what is mine to hold and what belongs to the client? Because we don't want to be taking that forward with us. So we finish it off and write it up there and then. And then the reflection. What is it that you were most aware of during that session? And of course, the reflection, once again, it's not something where we are judging ourselves. Oh, did I do that right? I forgot to ask this. How could I have done that? So it's not being hard on ourselves. It's really just an awareness of what has happened. Okay. Are there any questions here? Or comments?
My question is always this one I ask myself. Sometimes, of course, we're not supposed to share our own life. Oh, I believe this is the case, really. We're not supposed to tell stories about ourselves. But sometimes when the session is over, I am tempted to tell a little anecdote that the session and the client would have reminded me of. I'm tempted to say, you know what you were telling me earlier on, I went through and it was exactly the same thing. Am I, and I always, whenever it happens to me, I say, please tell me the impact of me telling you this story after our coaching session is over. Is it a good thing to do or not? Because they always tell me, oh my God, this really made it more valuable than anything. Am I to believe it? Have you gone through this? Because sometimes it's so urgent, it's so sort of coming to me as a must to tell that it's exactly a little story like that that I'm tempted to share with my client. Is it a good thing? Is it not? I ask you from your own experience.
From my own experience, I think I also experienced that, to be honest. And I think what is important there for me, and I always ask myself, is it going to be in service of the client? At the end of the day, if I share my story, what is going to help that client to move forward with what it is that I'm sharing? I don't know. Does anyone else have a different view?
May I comment that this is the idea behind it? It's never, ever, ever to show off or to say, no, to say that, yes, I can understand because this happened to me.
Yeah,
So please, thank you so much for sharing. And can
pleasure.
anyone say your own experience? As Kavita is inviting us to.
I would like to think the same as well, Dr. Mohiba. A few things that I would be careful about is one, the contracting. Am I making it very clear in the contracting that should I feel or think, but I would always seek the client's permission. Something's coming in my mind about something and I want to bring it up here. Is it okay for me to do so? I mean, even if it is curtsy, I think that would be it. And also being as crisp as possible with that, because obviously we're not getting paid to hear ourselves and we're not getting paid to, so making it as crisp, not taking too much airtime with it, fully formulating or forming that thought before I could share it, and then being able to let go of it after I've shared it. So, but for me, it's always in the contracting first, as to there may be times I may want to bring something up, and this is how that's my philosophy, that's my style of coaching. Would that be something that would work for you? And but yet again, during each session, should something come up, and again taking the client's permission, and then so that's how I do it. But I guess there's no right and wrong here. Like, bottom line is, if it's in service to the client, then I guess it is.
Thank you, Caroline. If I may say one thing, I never, ever interrupt a coaching session. And you are right. If I say something, it's once it's over, we've done everything, and I say, may I share this little something with you? As you say it so perfectly well, in support of the client, in service of the client. Never, ever to boast and say, you see, no, 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 none of that. But in service of the client, that's exactly it. Thank you so much. And thank you,
Okay.
Kavita, for allowing my comments.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I am mindful of the time, so I'd like to just close off here. And I want to thank you very much. I think presence is certainly something that we often think about as something that we give to others. But I think today we've explored something a little bit more foundational. And that is that presence begins with how we connect with ourselves before, during, and after every conversation that we have. So thank you for your presence today. And if you can, just quickly type in the chat box just one thing that you are taking away from this session. And I want to leave you also with this quote: the human soul doesn't want to be advised or fixed or saved. It simply wants to be witnessed, to be seen, heard, and companioned exactly as it is. So that's just something we can think about. For our clients, they're not there to be saved. And let's stay present for them. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Seeing the 3, 2, 1 has gone down well. Biology complements chemistry. Thanks, Carolyn. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you to
Kavita.
ICF Oman also for having me here and for being a part of this. It's really been a wonderful experience. I've enjoyed the participation from everybody. It's really made this conversation, as small as it is, very meaningful. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kavita. I would quickly request the President Oman chapter of ICS to give us a vote of thanks.
Oh, this is formal, but I love the informality of what we did today. Kavita, thank you so much. It was truly refreshing to attend an online session that was so from the heart, so intimate, and so on time. So thank you very much. Truly valued and appreciated. We usually have a larger group, but I'm glad that whoever was here, and I'm sure they've all benefited in some way. I can speak for myself and say I'm a restless coach. I feel I'm very action oriented. So for me, this aspect of grounding, this presence, sometimes feels uncomfortable, which can be so anti feeling, but I really loved what you did and how you brought it to the session. So on behalf of the board and on behalf of all of those here, thank you for your time. Thank you for your expertise. And a special thank you to Dr. Mohiba. She is our greatest fan and supporter. Thank you, Nazima. Thank you, Bhavna. Bhavna, big shout out to you. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you, Farzeen. Farzin's the ACE secretary in town for chapter board. So Madea, thank you. It was lovely having you. I hope you enjoyed the session. And big shout out to Anjana. Anjana, truly from our hearts, thank you for the effort. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We do need
so much.
And thank you, Caroline, right? For
Thank
everything. Yeah.
Can we have those big smiles, please? Farzeen, you're going to appear twice, okay? You'll be surprised with the picture first.
Let's
One
do
side
one
with
more.
camera, one side without
One
camera.
more. One more. Look into the camera.
Okay.
I didn't get it. Sorry. Okay. Technology plays up. Anyway, I got it, I think. All right.
I've taken a couple as well. I'll send it through to Anjana
Great.
too.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
Kavita.
Thank you. Thanks,
once
Kavita.
again. Thank
Thanks
you,
so
everybody.
much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.